We may or may not be recording. Okay, we are recording. So day one, the
We're live.
genesis of the Royal Ramble with Matt and Rory.
Genesis, as the good book says, and there was light, and one of us has light and the other doesn't.
One's by candlelight by himself.
Ah, indeed. Shall we have verification?
Yeah,
Spiced smoke whiskey for our one viewer in India that's watching.
sure. So I got my haircut after work today, and the guy called me. Well, he sent me a text. He's like, "Hey, my 4:30 canceled. You want to come in early?" I'm like, "Sure."
Yeah,
Go away. So I go there. And I get there, and he's still got a guy in the chair. He's like, "Hey, want a beer?" I was like, "Sure. What do you got?" He's like, "Just look in the fridge." And it's like, I mean, I was expecting to have like Natty Light or something, you know.
mm.
I mean, good beer in there. I mean, yeah,
Like what? What'd
they
you
had,
have?
they had local craft brewery stuff like pint cans, and
Man.
yeah, some stuff out of Nashville and some other places. And so I grabbed a mid tier beer. I didn't want to go and grab like a $7 pint or something out of there.
There we go. That
But
helps a little bit with my brightness. Had my brightness down all the way on the computer.
oh, there you go.
It's a little better.
You might be able to mess with your settings on this as well,
Mm.
um, but we'll figure that part out. So how concerned were you last night? So yeah, today is November 6th,
Mm.
post 1 day post election.
Post-apocalypse where
Yeah,
we survived.
were you expecting apocalypse for a while or not?
Ah, honestly, I had good feelings going into it. As always, me and you know these things. Media undersells reality, right?
Yeah,
They're gonna hype one narrative, and typically, the way mainstream media, the term, right, the way it goes, reality can be very different, right? And I just felt this energy. I had been watching almost all, not all of them, but most of Donald's like round out, um, what's it called? Rallies
yeah.
when he's been hitting the key swing states. And dude, whatever political spectrum side you sway to, you cannot deny there's like an absolute energy there. There's an energy you can't replicate it. You'll watch like a Kamala Harris or the other party. You'll watch other party try to do recreate that energy, and it's like fake hype. It's not
Well,
real.
and even like last night, when you look at her her rally headquarters or whatever at Howard University.
Mm,
And I mean, they've got music going, people are out there dancing and whatever else. They're trying to create that, and the same thing they did with the one
mhm,
rally that Beyonce was supposed to perform at. She showed up for 3 minutes, but it was like a concert. It was like a party, is what they're trying to do. I watch a one guy on YouTube, and he's a gay black dude. And he goes
mm.
to both, and he's on the right side of the world. Um, but he goes and he's welcoming both those. And a lot of people don't know who he is and whatever else. But he's like, if I go to a Democrat rally and they find out who I am, I usually get chased out because I'm right leaning and they don't want
You're
me
an
there.
enemy of the state.
And he's like, but I'm like a gay black dude though. But
Yeah, like
it
literally.
doesn't it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Is I mean, once you are against the party, you're against the party, and they'll kick you out. So it's when they talk a lot like today, they're talking about identity politics, and they're sticking on
Mm.
identity politics, this, that, and the other. But they don't, because even if you identify as this, that, and the other, the moment that they don't try and sway you or anything, they just shout you down and kick you out.
You're an
Uh, you're a threat.
immediate black sheep.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
just a black sheep. You got to be cold. Be gone with you, right?
and
And
that's yeah. It,
it's
but
it's,
but
it's crazy.
and
The,
I
the,
I mean, I kind of wish I could have gone to a Trump rally. I'll never have that option again in my life. That'll be
yeah.
done. Uh,
Well, that's something to talk about tonight. Is it or isn't it? You
what do you
can't have
mean?
two consecutive terms.
Oh no, no, you can only be twice. You can only do two
Is it
terms.
is that the
Yeah, yeah,
legitimate?
yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah. You can only do
twice.
2 terms. Yeah,
I think he'd be too old at that point. And I really, like we've talked about, dude, JD and Tulsi ticket would be
I
wild, or a
um
JD Vivek, wild.
yeah. Well, I think the JD Vivek thing would worry a lot of people because JD Vance's wife is Indian and Vivek's
Yeah,
Indian. It might be just too much,
yeah.
but I could see.
Vivek's a little wild card too.
I like Vivek though. The more I listen to the guy
He's a
talk, the more I'm
great
like, he's
dude.
a cool dude.
He's a
Um,
great dude.
I think if you if you look when Tulsi came out with all this stuff, right?
Mhm.
So Tulsi was on Rogan middle of the summer, I think she did. She's probably done Rogan a few times, and
I
they got
think a
talking about
couple
a lot of
times, yeah.
things. And she, just talking to her, I mean, she's a career military person
Mhm.
now, or whatever else. And so, you know, her leanings, I think, the altruistic idea of being a Democrat is probably what drew her in there. She's from Hawaii
Yeah.
as well, so I mean, that's just going to be how you were raised.
The
And it's
general
not.
perception of a Democrat is like, "Oh, I like everyone. I'm
Yeah, yeah, it's
inclusive."
very ideal.
Yeah.
I'm loving of everybody, open
Or at
minded.
least that's what's sold
Yeah, yeah,
is
yeah. That's
I'm
the
inclusive,
that's the
right?
packaging. And but once you look at the whole thing and how everything's boiled down, the 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 Republicans are much more welcoming to anybody. They don't give a crap. It's
Well, and
more.
they're willing to listen. They're
Yeah,
like, "Hey, I mean, we'll listen." The
and
DNC,
that's
it's an
yeah.
immediate like we said, the culling. You're
You're
snipped.
in or you're out.
Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So I think with her coming out, what 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, she's like, I'm joining the Republican Party, whatever. I think there's some positioning for 2028, and they've got to look at
I
that
think
because
so.
he can't run again.
Mm,
And so you had a 4 year, a one-term 4 year president, another one-term 4 year president, different party, and now you've got one that's another again. It's going to be a four-year one-term president.
yeah.
So how much can you implement and carry out over what would be 8 years? So it's
Well,
going to be.
that's why JD was a great choice because I think he just turned 40.
Yeah, he just turned
He's like
40
right in between our
last
age,
year or
right
something.
here. I think
Yeah,
he's like right in between us. He's 40, I think.
yeah, right. I'm 40. Yeah.
And it's a great
Oh yeah.
if he holds his own like he has this whole time in very combative situations,
Oh yeah.
and even Trump said, "I put this guy in horrible situations." He's like, "All right, I'll go." And he just goes, and
But
it's
that's
like
what I mean.
he's not scared, you know what I mean?
Well, a couple of things that go into that. So the dude's a Marine,
Yeah,
right? And
he don't
so
give
he's
yeah.
not really going to back down. What are you going to do? Because oh, you got Joe. He's like, I'll take you up behind the gym, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll put up the Dukes. Um, and then you got JD, who's a Marine, who probably would do that. I mean,
Well, I mean,
he's not going to get himself in trouble, I don't think, but he's not going to back down.
what are soldiers trained to do? I would
Yeah,
in
yeah,
my mind, don't take offense, all right, I know you're Army guy, but in my mind, for like echelons of like the guys that run straight to the battle,
oh yeah,
in my mind, it's like Marines, the Rangers,
oh yeah.
you know what I mean? Like those
But he's not. Yeah,
infantry, but in your mind, it's like it's ingrained. I go to the problem, right?
yeah, he's not gonna back
He's
down
not
from it, and
scared,
he's gonna
you know what I
find a
mean?
solution for it. He's not,
Yeah.
and also in the military, you can't go back to your boss in the military, like, "Well, I can't do it. I can't figure it out." What? No,
Can
you're gonna
we
figure it
can we
out.
pause real quick? Can we talk about your shirt right there? Book it.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that from the library?
Well, so it's back when you were, like, in middle school, the reading
Yeah.
program, you got a free pizza? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I
Yeah,
saw that. I was like, where did I see that? It's so
yeah, oh, I don't even
familiar.
think a book it program exists anymore.
I used to do that. Oh man. It's not with Pizza Hut, but maybe
It
it
used to be
was.
Pizza Hut. It was Pizza Hut.
Was it? And
Yeah,
you
if you read
collected
so many books a week or a month, you got, like, a free personal pan pizza.
oh, where'd you find that? Interweb?
My wife found it, yeah.
Oh yeah. Nice.
She's like,
Found
"Here's the
on
shirt for you."
dead stock of Bookit t-shirts from 1994.
She found it at the end of Facebook at 2 o'clock in the morning when she should have been
Is
asleep.
that where you went for your Facebook deal to sell
No,
your Facebook items?
no, I went for
Oh,
Facebook Marketplace.
what
Made
did you
200
sell
bucks
on
the other
your
night.
we're gonna get back to the election, but what did you sell on your Facebook
So,
meetup?
okay, when we first had our garden, we fenced it off to keep the dog out of it with
Mhm.
these, um, 4 foot by 3 foot metal panel fence pieces that you
Yeah,
get at
yeah.
Lowe's. I had like 20 of those and then posts and everything for them. And but we don't have a garden anymore.
Yeah.
And then we were using it for the chickens, and we built a giant run for the chickens, so we don't need them anymore. It's just sitting there, and I can sell it for scrap at 8 cents a pound, or I could
Mm.
sell it to somebody else in the marketplace.
Did you
And those
sell it
things
to
are like,
another chicken farmer?
no, no, but she's gonna use it for dogs though.
Oh,
But
cool. Yeah.
I mean, so I had those. I think I had 19 panels, 21 posts, and three like gate latch posts in there. and I asked $200 for it all, which
Hey,
is about a little under half of what it all costs new.
yeah.
And so she got a great deal on it. I mean, it was on there for like 2 weeks though. I was getting worried. But yeah, yeah, I'll take cash. I like money.
Heck yeah. For back to the election,
Yeah,
we're talking about being worried, right? I stayed up. I think we both stayed up pretty late. I
I
was
was
up
up
to
till
about
midnight.
yep. I was about 1:30, 1:20. I stayed up until a little after Fox called it, and because
So I didn't even see Fox call it. I
I,
was asleep. I was asleep. I think before Fox called it.
I wanted to see AP call PA in Wisconsin. If they called those two, done. I
But
knew
those
it
were
was
late
done.
though, weren't they? I mean, I remember my
It was
wife
late.
waking me up at some point in time and telling me that they called Pennsylvania. But
Yep.
my like I posted on Mastodon. I was like, I don't want to go to sleep because the moment I
I
do, they're going
do.
to pull some fuckery
I
and like
know,
we're going to
dude.
find a whole bunch of votes. Have you seen the stuff where they're
Ah,
talking about the votes from Obama's first election? He got like 62 million votes, and then they talk about Obama's second election was like 59 million, and then it's like all these like high 50s, and then Joey's election was like 80 million
yeah.
during
There's
2020, and then it's
there's
back
no
down
way.
like record turnout this election, and and Harris only got 70, not 70 million. She got like 52 million or something.
But
Altogether, it was like 25 million less
yeah,
votes than in 2020. I mean, and people are
what
starting to realize, oh shit, they were just stuffing boxes.
I I think the last election was problematic. One could also say
Oh
it
yeah.
was rigged to a
Well,
degree.
yeah. I don't
But
I don't think it was. I don't.
it was definitely framed weird because I liked how JD set it up where he talked about if the American people knew the truth about the Hunter Biden story being buried,
Oh
then
yeah.
maybe a different
Well,
result.
and that's
Which
what.
I think maybe rigged isn't the right term, but it was definitely manipulated to a
So
degree.
I think it was done. I don't think it was done coordinated by like the DNC. I think it was locally done. So you
Mm,
had states they knew would be swing player states, and within there they had people that would just print and stuff ballots
yep.
into a thing. You had COVID, a perfect storm. You have COVID, you got mail-in ballots they
But
pushed for
would
and all that.
would you agree that I think, and I don't like having the past 4 years at all, but I think it was good to have those 4 years as a wake up. Like, here's what it was, here's where we are. Is this what you want?
Well, and I think
Decision time. You know what
so
I mean?
two things. Well, yeah, let's wreck the economy to have
Yeah,
an
I know.
example. It
I'm not saying it's
sucks.
good. I'm not saying it's good, but a reality check. You know what I memean?
Yeah, I think part of it. So you have that, yes, to see kind of what's going on, but I think because my wife and I were talking about this a little bit earlier
Mm,
today. If Trump would have won, so let's say Trump won in 2020 and he didn't have Senate or House, right? Nothing would have been done but impeachment after impeachment
yeah,
after impeachment, legal crisis,
it would have been
whatever.
just continuous
Um,
disaster.
yeah, and that's all it would have been. Nothing, and it would have just
Hmm.
been horrible, as opposed to the
Uncle Joe.
well, you get
Yeah,
Uncle Joe, and still the lawfare stuff they're
yeah.
doing, assassination attempts. I mean, he's like a Marvel superhero, man. They threw everything at him,
I
and the
cannot like
guy,
when you think about what happened, it's
yeah,
insane. It's
yeah,
insane. Every
well,
every sort of like dirty trick, and they tried to murder him at least twice,
yeah,
two
well, and that's
times.
so. Let's look at it this way, right? Okay, so they try to murder him at least twice. One time, I mean, the dude gets physically
They got
shot,
clipped.
right?
Yeah,
So the dude gets shot, and
yeah.
he's a convicted felon. He's going to be sentenced.
It's got
And
a
okay,
freaking badass mugshot. Like,
yeah,
are you kidding me?
okay, so you got this going on, and
Yeah,
his son, heir to $1 billion, is like 7 feet tall. Okay, this is how you
massive.
create evil villains, right?
Dude,
The kid's got
literally,
expendable money, and you've done everything
literally.
to railroad his dad, and either he got shot and like killed. Let's say that would have happened,
Yeah.
or he's in prison for who knows how long. That's when you create either like Batman or what's Doctor
Le-
Octavius or whatever
Lex
else.
Lex
You get some,
Luthor.
yeah, you get some
Yeah.
crazy shit out of that. Be
Now
careful.
now it's like the coin turned to the right hand, right? Where now it's like an insane deck of cards. You have Trump,
Well,
the
that's what.
focal point. You got
So,
Tulsi, Vivek, Elon, a literal breathing mad scientist.
oh yeah,
Like
he's
literally
a
a
mad
mad
scientist, most
scientist.
definitely.
And then you got
Um,
RFK Jr., man. Freaking
Yeah.
deck,
So
man.
now let's go back, and so like, okay, oh, Trump's he's a Nazi, right?
Yeah,
He hates all these foreigners and this, that, and the other, and he doesn't like this, that, and whatever. Okay, his vice president's wife is Indian.
mm,
Vivek's going to be on the cabinet somewhere, right? He's an Indian
absolutely,
dude. One of his main supporter dudes is a South African, now a U.S. dual citizen. I mean, he's got a Kennedy, a hardline Democrat family. Kennedy, that's there.
dude.
Tulsi, who's a Pacific Islander. I mean, you look at his core posse right now. There's some diversity there. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, this
yeah.
guy is whatever.
And
Okay,
from the party of
yeah. Well,
inclusivity, they
yeah,
picked Tim Walz, man. Like, get
yeah,
the frig out of here.
yeah, yeah.
Friggin', I was
He's
in
the only person I know that's
Afghanistan.
whiter than me. It's Tim
Like,
Walz. I don't know how
bro,
that works.
Tim Walz, that dude, I got more street cred than that bitch, and I was in Afghanistan twice, and I wasn't even like an
Well,
infantry
he didn't
guy.
even go.
Like, that's what I'm
He
saying. Like, I got more street cred, guy. Like, what the frick? I'm not even
and
like a badass.
I'll,
You know
I'll
what I
give
mean?
I'll give him one thing. It might be easier to load an M16 M4 than it is a semi-auto shotgun. I don't know.
Nah,
I don't
maybe.
semi-auto shotguns I own don't load like his, like a
Yeah.
regular tube-fed Beretta, but I don't know. Um, good lord.
Definitely fascinating. When I was watching like every second, I kept like refreshing, refreshing,
Yeah.
and then it was like 80. When Georgia was at 94%, I knew he had it, and I was like, all right,
Well,
Georgia's good.
and
Then
that's
PA 80,
yeah.
90%. I'm like, he's got it. Then Wisconsin 80%. I was like, I think we got this, man.
Well, so were you watching Fox or are you bouncing around?
No, no, no. Daily Mail. I don't trust
Okay.
local news, my guy. But
Well,
Daily
no, I
Mail
was
was
watching
pulling.
not local, but mainstream Fox.
Oh, no, no, no. I was watching, you're right. I was watching RSBN, Right Side News Broadcasting,
Okay, I don't even know what that is. Is that somewhere online or something?
conservative YouTube.
Yeah, but so I was watching Fox, and they had the statistician and stuff come on, like the guy who's actually running the stats, and because they're talking to him, how do you know when you can call a state?
Mm.
And he's more or less when it's statistically impossible for the number of ballots being out for them to make up the percentage. That's pretty much when we call it, right?
Ah, okay, yeah,
And they
yeah.
look at the areas and all that. So I mean, there's a
Just
lot that goes
math.
into it. It's a big math problem,
Mm.
right? And so then they bring on, and I can't remember what her name is, the one brown-haired girl that's the liberal on the Fox team, and she always kind of gets in fights with people.
I
And
don't know her. I don't know
yeah,
her.
I can think of her name in a little bit, but and she's like, well, there might be a big dump of ballots coming in from Milwaukee.
Hmm. Oh, I heard talks about that. Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, big dumps, big giant dumps.
Yeah, yeah.
They're
Five,
calling dumps.
50 USBs, 18
Yeah.
terabytes each. Some
But
crazy
also,
crap.
I think the other thing that came in that happened this election, as opposed to the last one, is so much more oversight. Because did you
Yeah.
see the whole thing that happened? I think it was in Wisconsin, to where one of the observers looked over and he's like, "Hey, the back of that machine is sealed, but the lock is not locked."
Hmm.
And they'd already run 30,000 votes through it. And they're like, "Okay, well, hold on, stop. Let's go ahead and break the seals, lock it all up, reseal it, verify
Yep.
everything, and we'll count those votes again." Which is the right thing to do.
Yep.
But I mean, how can you go and you seal something, but you didn't even lock it? That looks shady.
Mm,
I mean, but that's
100%.
you should have those people there. And if they were, also without having the majority of your ballots come in by paper, either drop box or mail
Mm.
because of COVID, you can't just happen to find a box of ballots somewhere. I think
This
the
this
odds of
is
that are
one
a
of
lot
my
less.
this is one of my points of contention. My home state, the great state of Florida, the Sunshine State,
35
had
minutes, we got everything counted.
bro, an hour and a half total.
Yeah.
In, done. Like second or third most populous state, done easy. I
Yeah.
mean, guy, you got freaking Arizona still ain't called. I don't even think it's
No,
called
I
right
think they
now.
called Arizona like an hour ago.
I know, but it's a day, man. Like there ain't more
Yeah.
people in Arizona than Florida,
So
man. Get the
Well,
frig
and
out
there's
of here.
different rules for different places. So, like,
Yeah,
Nevada can't even start counting until the last polling place closes. They can't even start counting.
interesting.
And so,
Oh, that's probably. I bet you Florida started early with all the
yeah,
mail-ins.
and all the mail-ins probably get
Yeah,
counted. And there's one state to where open they can't open the mail-ins till day of election day, and then they can start sorting everything, and then they can start counting and stuff. So there's weird rules state by state, but that's also state by state, and it should be. I don't
Yep.
want the federal government telling a state how to run its election because then we've lost that state control over certain things.
I'm looking at AP's map or whatever of the
Yeah,
last couple states. Nevada has 87% in, 51% Trump, not called yet. And Arizona has 67% in, 52 to 47 Trump. Still, they're still not done, according
maybe
to
I should have.
AP.
I mean, he doesn't need Nevada though. What is
It's
that? Is
done.
that 6 electoral votes?
Hold on. Which one? Nevada?
Yeah,
6.
yeah.
He's at 295 now. I mean, it's done. It's a done deal.
Well, yeah, there's nothing she can do.
It's a
I'm
done deal.
surprised that she conceded and didn't decide to start having lawsuits in every state.
I read this interesting story I wanted to talk about tonight. It's on Daily Mail, and I love international news because I feel like they have a little bit more thought than
Yeah,
we
yeah,
do,
you
right?
get a different. It's not as skewed or
It's a different
uh,
take.
yeah, yeah,
So they wrote this like they had a guy write two different outcomes of the election, right? And one that I read both, and the one that kind of stuck with me was what if Trump won? And I think there's there's a sampling of truth, like maybe a reality with this. Their theory, not going to go through the whole thing, but it ended with before the election, Joe steps down to give Kamala the presidency for like a month, and so she
yeah.
can claim that she was president before him.
So she was the first female president.
Correct.
Here's the other downside. I don't know if I told you this or not. I might have just told my wife. Okay, after January 6th, when the whole thing was like, "Oh, Pence is not gonna certify the
Mm,
electoral vote, whatever, and then he's gonna anoint Trump and whatever," right? They passed a law to where more or less the head of the Senate can't not certify electoral votes. They have to certify them.
mm.
So, who is the head of the Senate right now?
Is
The
it the
vice
VP?
president. So Kamala has to certify the electors for her own loss.
It's just literal sweet victory.
Oh, that's just salt in the wound. I
It's just
mean,
sweet victory.
but I the other thing is like, are we going to even see Biden between now and the inauguration?
Dude, I mean, they've told us that he's never been sharper ever. He's gone, dude. He's gone.
Yeah, they
There's
blew him around with
nothing
ice
there.
cream and a spoon. I think I don't know.
January 6th, this upcoming year, I'm gonna be wearing my dark MAGA hat and my Trump Force Ones, man. I have to show you
Did you
those.
find some Alibaba Trump Force ones?
Yes.
They're like goat hair or something.
Hold on, they're
They're
amazing.
probably all made in the same factory in China.
Yeah, of course they are. Except these were $50 and not $500. Hold on, you gotta see these. I'm gonna leave them in the box. All right, you ready? Hold on.
Oh my god, those gold shoes!
They're gold sneakers. You can't, dude. Epic. Epicness.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna leave them in the box with my dark MAGA hat sitting beside it.
We have a Trump store here in town.
What?
I don't know if it's still open or not.
Amazing. I've
Yeah.
never seen like we were talking about were we worried or not. Like I was saying in the beginning, there's just an energy. There's an energy you cannot replicate. It's literally
Yeah, I mean, and there was a point in time. I mean,
survive or die, you
once the
know?
steam started going, and once Pennsylvania's like, "Oh, Pennsylvania's gonna go,"
Mm,
I was like, "It's doing the math because like I was 90% that he's gonna get North Carolina and Arizona, or North Carolina and Georgia." And I'm like, "Well, where else does he got to go? What's And doing the math and looking around and stuff, and I'm like, I think he has it. I mean, because she was locked into where she had to get Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin.
mm.
I mean, she's not. Yeah, I don't know.
It was
It's
mathematically
interesting.
improbable. It
Yeah,
was improbable. She couldn't do it. And is amazing. I watched a video of CNN, I think it's Jake Tapper, and they had one of their analysts. You know, you have all these strategists
yeah,
and
yeah.
analysts everywhere. And he's like, okay, so it's not looking good. And they're all grim, right? And he's like, well, how did she perform versus Biden? And they pulled up a map and they're like, well, this chart will show us how she performed versus
Mhm.
Biden the year before. Guess what the country looked like?
Horrible.
It was blank. She performed no better than 3% in any metric
Oh
than
yeah,
he did.
Yeah,
Incredible. Incredible.
I mean, but here's the other thing, and somebody said it on Fox. It was like, if your quarterback goes down in the Super Bowl, you don't pull in a quarterback who's never played a game or been tested in the game before,
Dude.
and that's what you did.
And
You
she
were
passed
100.
on great opportunities. Joe Rogan would have helped her.
Yeah, well, she had the opportunity to get help from Joe Rogan.
Mm.
I don't think he would have helped her. I think it would have been a very tough 3-hour interview for her, and
If she handled herself, it could have helped her, but
but I
she
don't think she
couldn't.
could have because
She
even
couldn't.
with if you like on the Trump interview, Trump he would start doing the weave, right? They start
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about this, and Trump would be over here and be over there, and Joe would bring him back to topic. I think if he did that to Kamala, she would just shut him down and try
Mm.
and get it like, "We're not gonna discuss that anymore, Joe. We're not let's move on from that." And, like, try to go somewhere else where it was an easier thing for her to work on.
But that's what's magical about Trump is he's like literally he is a New Yorker, man. He'll talk your
Yeah,
ear off about nothing that you want to talk about, but
but
he's
he's
still interesting to
knowledgeable.
he
He's
knows what
got
he's talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got enough knowledge of it, enough different things that he can have a conversation with anybody.
Mhm.
Because he starts talking to Joe, he starts going into boxers and stuff. And, I mean, Rogan can talk about boxers and fighters all day long.
Mm.
And talk about all those things. But I mean, he could also talk about doing land deals and doing whatever. And I'm sure he can talk about property tax and all that stuff and real estate tax and those things. I mean, I think he understands that enough to be dangerous. And now he's just
Mm.
going to surround himself with people that are experts in all that stuff.
I
But I
I had
just,
a I had a really good feeling. There's a guy on YouTube called I think Benny Johnson, and he's like a
yeah, he's from Cedar
tech
Rapids, Iowa. Yeah,
maybe he is. It's like a
I know he is.
typical conservative type guy. You know what I
Long
mean?
dude, short hair. Yeah,
Yep.
that
Yep.
weird little outline of his head icon thing. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
He went to urban areas in Tampa Bay, Florida, right?
Did
My
you see him out
home
there in a
state.
Rolls Royce giving out hats in Atlanta?
That's what I was
I
watching
was like, this
that,
dude's gonna
man.
get shot. He's got some local
Bro,
trap rapper with him though, so he's all
but
right.
but what was amazing was not even in the Fulton County area that he was at, but in Tampa Bay, man, people were down with they're like,
Yeah,
dude, we got to get Trump in, man, because they did this skit, not really a skit, but like a test where they marked gas down to the price it was when Trump left office, $1.84 a gallon. They blocked the whole street because everybody's trying to fill up their car. And they're like, why are you there? People are like, what are you doing? He's like, this is how much gas cost when Trump was in. Do you want that again? They're like, hell yeah, $1.84 gas.
drill, baby, drill.
I was like, yes, man.
Well,
It
yeah.
literally, you can talk to people the most easiest way through one way, their wallet,
Oh, yeah.
their wallet.
Well, that's
That
what
you can't make it up. It is
but
what
when
it
you
is.
talk about, like, his fiscal plan, I mean, Kamala's fiscal plan, we're gonna give everybody $25,000 to buy a house. Okay, but that doesn't even solve the building the houses. We don't have the
I
houses
read a
to
whole
build.
article in Ireland when they did that. Guess what happened when they gave people
The
30
housing rates
grand?
go up by $25,000. Yes.
Magically is funny how that works.
But she's
It's
also
like magic.
she's gonna stop price gouging at grocery stores. Well, I remember
Oh,
how do you
okay.
do that? Because when the government starts doing price control, that's like communist. I mean, that's
100%.
you can't do you just stop the free market. But also, I don't think grocery stores are out there just like jacking up prices. From what I understand, their profit
I
margins
really
are
don't.
razor thin. It's by volume they're making money. It's not by just jacking up the price on this, that, and the other because
The
people
worst
need to buy.
outliers are the pharmaceutical. It's not I don't think it's the grocery store per se.
Well,
You know what
and
I mean?
I think big pharma's gonna have problems. And so
With Bobby Jr.?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So one of the things that they talked about that he's going to try and get Trump to do is stop pharmaceutical advertising on TV.
We're one of 2 countries, I think, in
Yeah,
the
New
world.
Zealand, us in New Zealand, and
Is
New
it New
Zealand's got
Zealand?
like very strict regulations on what they can be.
Bro, we
But
have no rules here. They
no,
fund everything.
yeah, I mean, and well, I don't know if you ever heard on No Agenda. They talk about pharmaceuticals and they talk about like the side effects. The worse the side effects, the more people will want to take it. Like, if you can get your side effect to be
Interesting.
possible death, everybody wants that shit. They're like, "Oh, this works so well, you might die from it. I need to give me some of that." And
Give me that give me that, crack cocaine,
yeah,
whatever it is.
and so it's like it's insane that you have these side effects. Well, hold on, I need this because I get cramps in my leg. Well, you might get diarrhea. You might get
Yeah.
shortness of breath, dizziness, headaches, abdominal pain.
May
Because you
cause
don't have leg cramps
impotence,
anymore.
ED, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
it's like,
No.
oh, well, but now you've got impotence. We got a pill for that. And next thing
Hey,
you know, you're on 90 pills a day because you went and talked to your doctor and told him
that
it
that ends
needless
up
medicine.
killing you sooner
Yeah,
or drags out your longevity so they can put you on more pills and charge
yeah.
up your health insurance.
Okay. I don't know how true this is. I've seen it in multiple places now. And somewhere like Sweden or somewhere, they've got the death pod. Have you seen this thing?
Okay, are you going about the what the lady the botched death pod?
Where they strangled her because she didn't die from the gas?
Yes,
I'm like,
yes.
so hold on, you go to commit suicide and they murders you in the end. Hold on. Let me see if I can
It's
find this story.
it's grim, but it's true. It's
Arrest
true.
after a woman dies in the death. Swiss police have arrested several people after a controversial, futuristic-looking capsule designed to allow its occupant to commit suicide was used for the first time. It didn't work. They had to strangle her. I'm like,
Jesus
what the hell? It's a
man,
3D printed
look, you paid for this.
capsule.
You paid for this
I
service, you
mean,
will have it. Die.
come
Choking them to
on.
death. Oh my gosh. I
Yeah,
did read about that. But the best outcome of all of this, Rory, I mean, we know
that's insane.
is
But we need to
it.
get rid of.
Can you hear me?
Are you still there?
Yeah, it froze for a second. The
Yeah,
best
yeah.
outcome for all this is one thing, and I sent it to you earlier, is justice for Peanut. That's the most important thing out of all this.
You saw that lower I sent you. That
Yes.
squirrel lower, squirrel 15. It had one nut, it had two nuts or whatever, and then three nuts for full auto. Or I had no nuts, and then I had one nut for semi, and like three nuts for full auto.
Dude, let
That's
me tell
insane.
you, when I saw the memes, all the memes of Trump like protecting squirrels and protecting cats, I was like, I am,
So
I'm
here's
sold.
the turning point with all that stuff. So that dude had a squirrel and a raccoon. Number one, nobody cares about Fred the raccoon, which is sad. But
It's horrible.
this guy has this guy has a squirrel and a raccoon. Do you know the genesis of these getting taken from him? What happened?
I pieced together what just clips, right? I
Okay.
thought it was like a search seizure
Oh,
because of like a
well,
like
okay.
pornography or something.
Well, I think his wife's got an OnlyFans, but that's a whole nother subject.
Okay.
So Peanut the squirrel, and nobody cares about Fred the raccoon because his following wasn't as big as Peanut the squirrel. Peanut the
Mm.
squirrel had like an Instagram TikTok thing this guy used, and he was making money from Peanut the squirrel.
Please don't tell me this is Peanut the squirrel that was like uh skiing on like the little
No,
RC boats.
I don't
All
think he
right.
was. No, no, that's old. That's like
Oh,
he's like dead. I don't think that's Peanut the squirrel. But anyway, he
thank
was like wearing
God.
cowboy hats and doing stuff. But anyway,
It's still a
so
crime.
there's some lady who like was jealous that Peanut the squirrel had more followers than her. And so she reported this
No,
guy,
she
the
didn't.
squirrel, to authorities.
No, she didn't.
Yeah. But so then back to the other thing, I think I sent you the meme. Like, if they'll bust in your house looking for an unauthorized squirrel, they sure as hell will come in your house looking for guns.
100%.
So
100%.
that's it. So not necessarily justice for Peanut, but just to realize that the government overreach. We
Where
talk about like Ruby
where
Ridge and things like that. Well,
Oh,
this is a damn
dude, yes.
squirrel.
Having literally a pet squirrel. Now this, I think, was in New York State, I think,
Yeah,
right?
it's not legal to have a pet squirrel there without a permit.
Bro,
You can't
those
have it.
guys up in New York, if you love
Oh, I know.
your freedom, move to the move
Well,
to the
but
Sunshine State.
also I think it depends on what part of New York you're in. I mean, if
Yeah,
you get
maybe.
out in, if you are in what the western, northwestern New York, out there in the hills where everything is red,
Mm,
but if you're in the city where everything is blue, it's a whole different story. I think. And it's like, I mean, it's like Mike at work. The area he's from in New York, he knows all that stuff, and he's like, it's a different state up there. It's
I'm
it's
sure.
it's it's not what the city is. It's upstate New York. But the same thing. Move to Florida, go down there and
Move to Florida, there's no
own
rules.
an anaconda. Yeah,
This how many rules are in Florida?
yeah.
That's a 0 for
But
those that
yeah,
are
but that's also
watching.
why they've got like cobras on the loose in
That
Florida.
is true.
So
I have a great story about Florida. So, when I was a kid, we would go to this park called Silver Springs Park, right? It's like a beautiful, like, uh, it's like a theme park. It's closed now. It's like a state park now. But they had a glass bottom boat ride. You could ride on these boats and see
yeah,
straight down to the bottom, like
yeah.
way down, right? Because it's crystal clear. And we were riding on the boat one day, and there were some wild monkeys. This is where they filmed the movie Tarzan from the 50s back
Hold on, there's
there.
wild monkeys running around Florida?
There there are wild monkeys in Florida, dude. I did not believe it. I saw it with my own eyeballs. So I think it was like a zoo or a habitat where they move monkeys to, and they're monkeys, bro. How are you gonna keep them caged in? There's hordes of wild monkeys in Florida now. Well, they filmed movies there. They filmed Tarzan and like Creature from the Black Lagoon and all kind of stuff there, right? Well, anyway, my granddad, all right, he was down in Silver Springs 40, 50 years ago, and they're walking around. My dad's a little kid and stuff. They're seeing all the animals and walking around, seeing the rides and stuff. And my granddad, he liked to drink, and he was lit up. He was lit up pretty bad. And a monkey had tried to jump from one tree to the other, but missed and landed on my granddad while he was 3 sheets to the wind, like on his back. And my dad, the story was just
So,
untellable. I
depending
could
on how
not
big that
recreate it.
is, those things gotta I mean, they gotta be heavy.
I
I mean, it's
know.
gonna, like, take you to the ground.
Dude,
Uh,
well, however big it was, let's say it's a capuchin. If
yeah.
you're 3 sheets to the wind, you have a wild
Oh, yeah,
monkey
yeah.
jump on you. Oh my god.
So, in when I was in Africa, in Liberia, there are whole areas where they tested all sorts of crazy shit on primates,
Mm,
and big ass cages where they kept them all in and everything. And then once that was, I don't know if either the mad scientists were done or somebody shut them down or whatever. They had all these monkeys and primates and orangutans and whatever that had been tested on had whatever diseases and stuff.
mm.
They took them all out to an island off the coast and just let them loose on the island because none of them can. They can't swim. So the primates can't swim.
Oh,
And
interesting.
so they're stuck on this island, and there's this dock, and they'll go out there and throw food and shit in the dock, and they'll come out and eat the food, and try and jump in the boats and stuff.
Ugh.
Yeah, they call it. I think they call it Monkey Island or something. I'll look it up someday. For you.
My
But
god,
that's
that's
one of those things.
wild.
Like when we would fly around, they'd go and fly over it to see if we could see anything coming out, looking for the helicopters and stuff. But yeah, it's still they're still out there, but they're all contaminated with
Mm.
whatever weird shit we injected them with to see what diseases they would get. And yeah. I don't. Monkeys are what? Did you watch that whole? It's made by the people that made Tiger King. I think it's. I don't know if it's on HBO or if it's on Netflix, but it's like Chimp Crazy or something.
Oh, I can't watch it. Is it about the lady that got her face ripped off by the
They
monkey or
talk about
something?
that lady, but it's
Oh
more or
my
less that
god.
animal control or PETA or whatever get called in because these people have these chimpanzees that are out of control or whatever in bad conditions, and they go to pick them up. They're like, "Hey,
Now, I will agree.
supposed to be seven, and we only found six. Where's number seven?" And so then the whole story shifts from these people that collect these things to who kidnapped this monkey or this chimpanzee, and where is it?
Jesus.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So
I agree there should be limitations on wild animals. Obviously, dangerous wild animals, probably not a good idea. Peanut the squirrel, man. Come on,
yeah,
dude.
probably not dangerous. It's a squirrel. Yeah,
Ah,
yeah. I know.
squirrel, man.
It's the same thing with
He's
the.
a little cowboy squirrel.
It's like
Come on.
Rocket the raccoon. I mean,
I know, literal a national tragedy.
yeah. Well,
Truly.
that's. I mean, it's just one. But if that happened outside of an election cycle, who'd care? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I mean, truly,
Nobody would.
yeah.
I mean, you got you got exterminator dudes who are killing squirrels by the hundreds probably on a weekend. But
Who who do you think the people we mentioned earlier are gonna be tapped for key roles? The RFKs, the Tulsi, the Viveks?
yeah, I think, and it's not going to necessarily go the way you think it is. So I think Vivek will be in there. I don't know if Elon will take like an actual role or work as an
Mm,
advisor because of his other holdings. The same way that can't remember who it was. If it was Rachel Maddow or somebody, it's like, hey, if you know Elon, if Kamala won, they were going to strip all of Elon's government contracts or
that
something. They
was
were
that
going to
was
do.
Maddow. She's going
Yeah,
on a freaking leftist tirade
yeah, yeah.
about the
But
end of the world and
the
all this
other
stuff.
thing is, if he goes into a cabinet position, he'll have to give up controlling portions of all that stuff and
Mm.
stocks because it would be what's the whole thing? There's a word for it. I
Like
can't
a
remember what.
conflict of interest of
Yeah,
sorts.
yeah, but there's a when you talk about like government contracts, there's a whole other
Mm.
word for it. I thought, but um,
I think being on a council or like a advisor role would
yeah,
be preferable.
and there's
He's
got to be some ways, even if they just they got him on
mm,
the if they bring in somebody else and put them in there, like Rand Paul or something, put him in there, and then have him help him with red pen and all the stuff they can just cut because there's a ton of waste they can cut. I mean,
Oh
there's
man,
a ton.
what's that firebrand lawyer? Is it Josh Gawley? Or what's his name?
Which one? The one that's going after Trump?
No, he's a good dude. It's not
Oh,
Trent. It's not Trent Gowdy, but there's another guy. God, hold on. I
I
want to
don't know.
look up his name.
But and I mean, I think Tulsi will probably have a cabinet position, but I think Tulsi is looking for a 2028 run. I think she'd be all right because I think
Oh
she can
yeah.
get people from the left over if she's got some common sense stuff, and I think she will. But I think she will make the run. I don't know who the left would put up. AOC looking for the youth,
Oh
but
God.
she wouldn't last. She would be torn apart. Um,
She's such a peanut brain. Talking about squirrels and peanuts, man. She is
yeah,
such a peanut
I
brain.
don't think she would last.
Tom Cotton is his
Oh,
name.
Tom Cotton out of
Tom
Texas.
Cotton. That's the
Is he
guy I'm
Texas?
thinking about. I don't know. That's a good question. Let me see.
I don't think he'd give up his spot. Well, he might. Texas, they can find another Republican in Texas.
Where is he? Senator, Arkansas.
Arkansas, okay.
Close enough. It's one
They can
state
find
over.
they can find another Republican out of Arkansas to fill that spot.
What about the egg on the face of what's her name? Liz Cheney. Ultimate betrayal. Judas Iscariot herself.
Well, I don't know what was her end game. What was the
I think she just wanted to cripple Trump because Trump basically said her dad was a war hawk. You
he
know what I mean?
was.
He is.
That's,
He was. Trump's gonna
I,
tell you what he thinks,
I
man.
wouldn't go hunting with him either.
Hell
Um,
no.
so he straight up was. That's and we'll talk about it later. We talk about like Afghan war
Mm.
stories and that whole thing and how you know the spending time there to have it all unfold and realize it was kind of for nothing. That kind of sucks.
I told my mom the other day, we were talking, I said, I think my generation, especially us Iraq, Afghanistan vets, we're the new Vietnam vets, man.
Yeah, but I think it's a little bit different. So Vietnam, I think we had a lot of people supporting us. So a lot of America supports
Oh,
them, right?
100%. The
Vietnam,
support's there, but
yeah,
like that
Vietnam,
effort for nothing.
yeah, and I think we get more social support. I think that
Mm.
people see that now, right? Um, but I think the internalizing it, you know, um, when you see the things that happen, the people that died and things like that,
Mm.
the people that are all jacked up for the rest of their life from it. Even I mean, I'm sure at some point in time you guys did ramp ceremonies, man. You're probably
Oh,
working boat,
dude.
boat
I
stuff for that,
worked, I was a
and
flight line guy. I loaded aircraft. I've loaded
yeah,
many bodies.
and so that you see the ultimate cost of it,
Yeah.
and then for 10 years later, for them to be like, yeah, we're leaving tomorrow, war's over,
Yeah, literally
and
botch job.
and
Literally.
people don't realize how much junk was amassed there over
Mm.
20 years. I mean, just how much equipment and stuff. It
Yeah.
got to where deploying units didn't take anything because you would just go find guns and armor and all that stuff there. You didn't need it, and you can. I mean, I think we made left enough crap to make like the world's like fourth strongest army or something like that. I
I
mean, it
wouldn't
was.
doubt it a single bit.
Uh, I mean, yeah, and I don't think that helped Biden at all. I think he decimated the military.
Do
So back to this. So Biden was that a soft coup on Biden by the powers that be? Did somebody make a phone call? I mean, what do you think? How did that all
to pick
unfold?
Kamala as like the lead candidate?
Yeah. Well, I mean, just for him to stop running.
I think it was twofold. I think this is me just thinking out loud. I think they probably threatened to pull the was it the 15th or
The
whatever
25th, 25th
the
Amendment.
25th
Yeah.
Amendment. I think they may have threatened him with that and told him to bow out and let him finish his term so they could have a stronger candidate because they were worried, right? Obviously, anybody with two eyeballs would be worried,
Yeah.
right? And I think he took it, but he wasn't happy about it because I think Joe, as senile and crazy as hell as he is, was upset about having that pulled on him, and I think Barack had a hand in that,
Oh,
where to where even Biden wore a Trump hat and was kinda undermining Kamala a little bit.
there's a few moments where I think he's done things like that, with
You know what
things
I
he's kinda
mean?
said and whatever else, and, yeah, I don't think he's happy with it. I think Obama is currently the,
Like acting.
Democrat well, he's the Democrat kingmaker. I
Mhm.
mean, they're not gonna find a new candidate to run without going through Obama.
Getting the blessing.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I mean, um, and I think that you're probably going to no matter who you are, you're probably gonna at least confer with a non-senile former president, right?
And
There
that's what makes Trump so interesting is he's a wild card,
Yeah,
a complete wild card, completely outside of any traditional anything of having to kiss the ring, right?
which is awesome in a way.
Which is incredible. It's just
Yeah,
a guy. It's just a rich guy. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Well, he's a Marvel superhero now. I mean,
He's a, yeah,
he's
literally.
survived all this stuff, and he's still ticking. I mean, and that's so you have all these crazy people, and they're like, "Oh my god, he's gonna put us in concentration camps. He's
Mm.
gonna deport my mom or whatever else. He's gonna do all this stuff." Number one, he didn't do it the first 4 years he was
I
there.
mean, yeah,
Number two,
yeah.
if this guy he had all this stuff done to him. He's been impeached twice. He's a convicted felon. He's
Had
been
his mugshot frog
yeah, he's been
marched everywhere,
arrested, whatever
which
else,
is one of the
right?
most
He's been
badass mugshots of all
yeah,
time.
he's been he's been shot. He's been, second assassination attempt, all this stuff.
Muck raked,
Yes.
everything.
Oh yeah. He's also like the only president who lost money from the
Yeah.
time he stepped into office till the time he left. He doesn't have to do this.
Mm.
There's nothing. Oh, it'd be like, oh, he's an egotistical, whatever. I don't think it. He knows there's a large percent of the population that think of him worse now after his presidency
Yeah.
than probably before. So he doesn't need that either. He can walk at any point in time and not drag his family through this and
I
whatever
think it
else.
truly is that innate drive to see America. He's worried because he even talked about it in the 80s and 90s with Oprah back in
Yeah,
the day. And he said, if I ever got worried enough, I would run. Because she asked him
and
back
that's
when he was in the cool group or
and
whatever,
they
right?
make they talk about, oh, well, he, his dad changed his last name from Drumpf to Trump and whatever else and all that. Yeah, the dude's like a first or second generation American. He was a child of immigrants.
Mm.
I mean, he was given money. Yeah, his family made money. That's like the American dream.
That's the
He is a
goal.
product of the American dream,
Yeah, that is
and
the
you're
goal.
shitting on him. Oh, well, he declared bankruptcy 6 times. Okay, the dude's probably had 300 businesses, and that's the way bankruptcy laws are run. So you don't lose
90
your
something
ass
percent of
completely.
businesses are going to fail.
Oh yeah, and that's the other thing that people don't understand how many small businesses
Mm.
don't make it past the first year. I mean, it's a minority number that actually do survive, and that's um, I don't know, man. It's
I,
just a
I,
vape store. There are a billion flipping vape stores on every
yeah.
corner. They've all been around for like 5 years now. I don't know how those survive.
I have very high hopes about the next 4 years. I think at this point, Donald Trump has had every trick in the book pulled on him. I think he's had just about everything pulled on him that you could think of. And if he can
Yeah.
survive that, he is
So
truly
as
Teflon
long
Don.
as he doesn't come in with just seeing red and going for vengeance and going for blood. As
Hmm.
long as he's coming in and like, you know what? I learned what happened last time. They railroaded everything. I've got the House. I've got the Senate. Let's go. We're gonna pass this and this and this. And they're dragging their feet. It's like, no, we're doing this.
Yep.
Or I'm gonna shut this down, shut that down, whatever. Um, and so we should be all right.
I'm very, very optimistic about the future.
I want well, I'll tell you what, I want a budget and not a continuing resolution.
Yep.
And I
I
want an
think
actual budget that isn't 10,000 pages. I don't
yep.
want it attached to some omnibus with the what's the military bill they pass every year?
The
The
Defense
yeah,
Authorization Act.
yeah. I don't want
Mm.
it with that, to where it's all got hidden crap in it, whatever. I mean, I don't
I
know.
think
I
he's
just
got great ideas floating around, tariffs, funding,
yeah,
potentially conversations about ending income tax. Not
That
taxing so
I don't think.
if it happened, it'd be interesting at the tail end,
Yeah,
maybe? I
yeah.
don't know. I mean, good ideas floating around,
I
right?
think you should start with tax on overtime and tax on tips and go
Yep.
from there, because I don't know,
Baby steps.
they would have to do some real research on, 'cause it would all have to work out properly, right? You'd have to get those
You
tariffs
can't
going.
steamroll it, you gotta have
Yeah.
infrastructure, you
Yeah,
know what
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean?
Because you can't just, like, stop, and I understand the government wants print money and do whatever, and they're just gonna spend you into debt anyway. Like, I mean, the money they're making on federal income tax,
Yeah.
like, it's a drop in the bucket compared to what we give to Zelensky every
Mm.
quarter to run his war. So, I
No,
don't
not to
know.
run the war for Ukrainian startup businesses, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I'm sure he's shaking out couch cushions now, looking for
Literally.
change because it's about to, the trickle's about to dry up.
Yeah, well, he
So,
was one of the first ones that called Donald, "Oh, congratulations." Yeah, I bet,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. From fellow actor, um, and
Do you
comedian
think
entertainer.
Donald will have the Russo-Ukrainian war ended before he takes office?
I think he can.
I think so, maybe.
Here's the downside to that. I don't think there's a path to success for Ukraine to maintain its borders from the beginning of the war.
It can't.
So
It can't.
they gotta come to the table. Ukraine has got to just give up everything to the Donetsk region or whatever that is,
Yep.
that portion right there. I think Putin would be happy. I think Putin will want an agreement with us that we will not expand NATO, like in writing,
A
in
renewed
blood.
agreement.
Yep. And because the other one's like a handshake deal, right? It's
Yep.
recorded, but it's not like part of the whole thing. So it's got to be something recorded, and like actual acted on to where if we do, it's a violation of some stuff or something.
Hmm.
And I understand those countries want into there, but they could probably be like a NATO friendly country and not be like a member of NATO. This when NATO's got to figure itself out, but you can't keep pushing them into a corner and then like, well, why is China and Russia aligning with North Korea? And,
Mm.
probably because we're encircling them and
Yeah, yeah.
putting up missiles on their borders. I mean, that's shit. We'd be upset if Canada and Mexico got together and started
A
squeezing
hu
us. So I
100%.
mean, why
100%.
are we doing that? And I mean, but I think in the end, I mean, talking to Xi, talking to Putin, I mean, talking to the little rocket man there in North Korea and all that, those people will talk to Trump.
Hmm.
They already have. And I mean, I don't
Trump
think,
was one of the first people to cross into North Korea.
well, I think one of the only that,
It's
the fact,
insane,
yeah.
you
So,
know?
but I think they've already had a relationship with him. They
Mm.
know that they can. It's gonna be much easier to open that line of communication and start that conversation. And
Trump was willing to talk.
oh yeah, yeah.
He's willing
Instead
to
of just
talk.
like, why are they going? We should just be this evil people, whatever. You're not going to solve anything by just sitting there and being evil back and forth.
And that I
Uh,
think that's why Liz was so butthurt about the
well,
Warhawk comments because Trump is
yeah,
not
you
that,
should bomb
you
them. Don't
know?
have a conversation. But the other thing is, there's probably a lot of people that are shaking in their boots right now and trying to figure out how to get their assets and everything out of Ukraine clean before Trump goes in there.
Mm,
There's there's red and blue people in there that their kids and businesses and laundering money all through there, I think, with
100%.
all the energy stuff, and they've got to get that out before Trump gets in there. Because I mean, if Putin gets a hold of any of that stuff and brings it before, release it in the dark web or something, there's gonna be problems, and they're gonna be like, "Oh my god,
100%.
every person's kid is tied up into this. It's all full of dirty money." Do you think he'll investigate any of the Biden stuff with Hunter or not?
I don't know if it'd be worth going for Hunter, you know? I don't know
Yeah,
if it'd be worth it. I think the
I think it's
m
burned. The whole thing's burned as far as it's
it's
not. There's no
gone.
value in it anymore. Yeah,
It's old news. I think he needs to focus on future, you know what I
yeah.
mean? And
I
that
think it
would
would
be
look bad too. It'd be in bad taste to go after him, even though
well,
they did
it
to
would
him.
set a
Maybe take high ground.
it would set a bad start for the beginning, going up
Yeah,
because then they would say now he's searching to persecute his political enemies. You know what I
yeah, yeah.
mean?
That's not gonna look good. That's
No,
not gonna
because
look
it'll validate everything MSM has been saying this whole time, which I don't think is true. You know what I mean?
good. Yeah,
But I think he needs to take the high road, if you could say, and then just move on, focus on now. And I think JD is going to be a good check for him on that.
yeah. And I mean, I want if Kamala. Okay, so if Biden wasn't geriatric with possible dementia going on, I don't think people would know who Harris was because there's
Agreed.
a lot of times people just don't know who the vice president is. I want Vance to be more out front of things.
Mm.
I want him to be tasked with doing things, and I think, compared to Walls, I mean, he's
Well, I think he's already well on his
miles
way
ahead.
because he
Yeah,
honestly, I could listen to him just as much as I could listen to Trump, if not more.
yeah.
Because
Was
JD's
educated,
close.
he's smart. He
Yeah,
is, I was raised in a middle class family. That dude was raised in a dirt poor family.
he
Uh,
that's a trailer park dude,
yeah, yeah.
100%,
So I mean, I think
100%.
when you talk about the American story and what's going on in America, I think he has a better grasp on that
Mm.
than most politicians do. So, yeah. So,
I think it's gonna be exciting, man, as we get closer and closer.
yeah, I just
It's
want to,
done. It's in the basket.
yeah,
We just got to get to January 6th.
yeah. And I mean, I think there's gonna be a problem on that. I think that's gonna go
Yeah.
off without a problem. Um, might be. I mean, some blue states might burn some things down, but they're burning their own patriots.
Yeah.
It's not my problem.
They burn all their stuff every year anyway for some if and or
They're,
but. I
they
mean,
burn their own shit down. It's like me protesting something by burning my
yeah.
house down. I mean, come on.
Yes.
I still gotta live here at night. How would I do that?
It's insanity, man.
Yeah, it makes no sense. But we're at an hour. I think if we want to wrap this up.
That went so fast.
It did.
Episode 1, the Genesis Royal
Yeah.
Ramble, Matt and
So,
Rory.
on the next episode, we'll spin the wheel and find a topic and just kind of see where we devolve from
I
there.
I love that concept. I think it's gonna be fun because it's like
Oh yeah,
spur of the moment.
it
It's
can
natural.
and it can just start going right or left. I
Yeah.
started thinking, well, where are we at on time? Where is that time? We're 56.
50,
Okay,
56:29.
yeah. So we can talk about a little bit real quick here while we're still recording, but the because we talked about uh the cult episode with Val, right?
Yep.
And then, I thought about seeing if, like, my barber wanted to jump on sometime. He's Why not?
Talking
He's a
about,
good
like,
dude.
haircuts and cool
Yeah, I mean,
customers? Yeah.
he's young, and he worked actually, like, I think he worked as a jailer before he got into cutting hair.
Ooh,
It'd just be
prison
interesting to
stories.
see, what's his genesis and how did he, get into that field,
Mm.
right? And what he likes about it, doesn't like about it, things like that. It'd be interesting. He's got, he's a classy little barber shop. It's not like he's in Supercuts or something. He's in a nice joint. So unless you wanted to find some other people to pull in, I'm not saying we're doing like, I wouldn't want to do an interview show. I mean, that's like we're talking every now and then, not like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
finding a list of possible people that would want to do it as well. I'm not. It's gonna be somebody who's gonna want to be able to talk and tell some stories. So we can discuss that as we go on.
I think all those are great. The Wheel of Misfortune and then,
Yeah,
these special guest spots, you know? I think those are
I,
all great ideas.
I'm. We may have to change the wheel of misfortune up to like a 40-sided die that spins or something because I've got a list going in the book.
We
Um,
got some great topics in there.
oh, dude, I added the one about getting the oil checked. That's a
Yeah, that's gonna be
that's a
great.
story I've gotta tell you. I don't know if I've ever told you that story or
No,
not.
I have not heard that
Oh
story.
god, that's a story and a half.
We can combine getting the oil checked with MEPS
Oh,
or like
Jesus.
military healthcare.
So, my MEPS journey was bad. I'll talk
Save
about
it. We
that.
gotta save it. I have a
Okay.
great MEP story about this weirdo that came to the service with me, sat beside me. I'll never forget him.
Like, you're sitting there in your underwear having
Yeah.
conversations.
Right after we did the duck walk. He's just a creep. There's no point.
Like, we're gonna humiliate your ass with 40 other dudes to see if
Hey,
you can
look.
join the military. Now you're gonna go
Hey,
shower together.
you
It's
want
like,
you want to join the military? Get in your whitey tighties and cross down. Okay. All right.
waddle across the floor for me.
Now waddle.
Oh, Jesus.
That'd be an interesting
Why?
topic.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and stop this. And that was great. So the first one is in the bag, and we will catch you all on the next episode. Thanks.
Awesome.